I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
Oh, and I am also Groot.
I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
I am also Groot.
I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. There we go. There we go. I just wanted to do that, BlueDragonFive. I'm sorry I blindsided you on that. I tried to get my lines right. Do you think I did well?
I am Groot.
I am Groot. Oh, okay. I'll take that as a no then. Okay. BlueDragonFive. Guess what we're going to be doing less than 24 hours from right now?
What?
We're going to be going to see the Avengers!
Wait, we saw that movie already. Oh, wait, we're talking about Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I have no strings. Yeah. So we've been building it up all week. They've been coming out with some crazy covers and whatnot and parodies. BlueDragonFive, how do you like Jeremy Renner just singing his heart out on Hawkeye?
Pretty funny.
I'm sorry?
Pretty funny.
Yeah, did you like the part where he opened the pickle jar?
Yeah.
And I can open a pickle jar. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. But yeah, this is going to be a fun video, BlueDragonFive, because we are really getting towards the end of our marvelous Road to Ultron countdown. And, you know, of course, we are getting very close to the end because the movie comes out tomorrow when we got tickets. So it's now or never right now. So BlueDragonFive, take us through the general topic of the evening.
Okay. So, folks, we're down to the final stretch here. You know, we've talked about all of our big characters, our big heroes that we've seen before. But you know what? With Age of Ultron, we've been bridging into kind of a bigger Marvel universe as a whole, and a big element of Age of Ultron will be kind of the universe we've had laid out for ourselves here, and a huge element of that is the cosmic side of the Marvel Universe, which has been building since we saw that great little glimpse of, not even just that little glimpse of Thanos, since we have just the Asgardians introduced in general, but also just since we've seen just the Tesseract come into play. So it's been building and building upon all these films in the Marvel, in Marvel Phase 2, but also especially towards the end of Phase 1, just like that bigger world has opened up with that giant portal that led us into the Avengers, and now going into it, we're going to discuss the cosmic implications of the Marvel Universe, which brings us into especially Guardians of the Galaxy, a beloved film.
Hooked on a feeling, boom, 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 boom. I'm high on believing, boom, 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 boom. I'm done.
Yeah, but you know something about the cosmic universe, before we go any further, you know, it's always had a place of importance in the Marvel universe, just in general, in the Marvel comics and then Marvel Cinematic here. But you know, it's cemented. The big thing the cosmic universe did in Marvel is it cemented that anything can happen and just be legit. It would sell you on these. It would validate this grand Shakespearean drama that Stan Lee back in the day he would lay out for, like the most kind of, it would be in space and you think, oh man, it's aliens and stuff, but no, it's like this grandiose Shakespearean drama between, like, you know, Thanos and Galactus and all these guys, and it's pretty much like this whole Shakespeare thing of like the Silver Surfer protected his planet from Galactus at the sacrifice of his true love, all these grandiose things that would be silly if not done right, but the way it was communicated, it was just like this. You bought every second of it. So again, just this Shakespearean drama in comic form, which has now been brought to the big screen in a grand way. We saw in Guardians of the Galaxy would take just, you know, people walking around with just painted different colors, but man, they really sold you on having this all this kind of, not just culture, but you know, this this history and sense of wonder and wow to them.
Because they lived in sci-fi world, and it is the most lived in and realistic feeling sci-fi world that we've gotten in quite a long time.
It's a big grand space drama. It's Marvel's version of Star Wars, even though they do technically have Star Wars. And just just the thing that I think is important with the Cosmic Universe is, in retrospect, going into Age of Ultron, again, the Cosmic Universe always kind of moved our heroes forward, because that's what really kind of made the Fantastic Four move forward as characters, going and bridging into the Cosmic Universe, but also just for our other heroes too, because the Avengers, bridging into like all these, getting in between these intergalactic wars and such, and their stories. So really, it moved our heroes forward, especially in the cinematic universe. That's true, because the Tesseract coming down there and the introduction of the Infinity Gems, that's moving our story forward to these grand places we never would have imagined they would go.
Of course, and it's just going to get more and more exciting as we go on, I mean, we haven't even gotten introduced to kind of the magical side of the Marvel Universe with Doctor Strange and all of that. Things are going to get really crazy really soon in Phase 3, but for now, I think we should start by talking about probably the most important artifacts, or shall we say MacGuffins, because let's face it, BlueDragonFive, they are MacGuffins, but let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Infinity Stones. Let's break them down.
Sure. So let me take you through the history of these things before we talk about them here.
All right.
Okay, so the Infinity Gems, or stones, depending. Stones is kind of because they're not just gems, but eventually, let's face it, folks, they're going to become gems in the gauntlets. So might as well just call them gems. Either way, the Infinity Stones, whatever. As far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned, in terms of adapting what we see in the comics, here's how it goes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There were 6 singularities predating the universe. So before the universe came into existence, before the Big Bang, there were these 6 singularities, which were the Infinity Gems. There were these 4 cosmic entities that turned these singularities into gems. Now, these 4 cosmic entities are going to be very important, and we did get a glimpse of them real briefly in Guardians of the Galaxy. We see when Star-Lord is at that Morag temple, the temple where he gets the orb. You'll notice all around that temple is this design of this little crest on the floor and on like all the walls, where it's kind of this circle cut into 4 sections. Within the middle, the 6 Infinity Gems are painted on there.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying now.
And we see in each corner each of these 4 corners on the circle are like kind of like hieroglyphics of one of the cosmic entities that I assume we're going to be seeing ultimately in Infinity War. So here they are. Okay, so here's kind of the mini history here. It's there's a father and there's a sister. Eternity is the father, and Eternity is the father. He's his main thing is creation. That's his shtick. There's Infinity, his sister, who is about expanding life, because keeping things going. So these two work well in good harmony together. There is Eternity's son, Entropy, which is Entropy is all about destruction. And then we have the most important of all, the apple of Thanos' eye, so to speak, and also Deadpool's, but I'm not going to get into that. Lady Death.
Oh God.
So Death, of course, is the big one that Thanos wants to impress here. She takes in the fallen souls because that's her deal. And these 4 entities kind of feed off of each other, and they realize the great power of these singularities, so they turn them into gems.
Yeah, from what I got out of this whole storyline as I was doing research into it is like Thanos is just the ultimate just try hard, won't take no for an answer kind of jock bully in this.
Well, he is called the Mad Titan.
When it comes to his relationship with Death.
Oh yeah. What's so funny about that, Dig, is that Lady Death, she has a thing for Deadpool, and Thanos can't stand it.
Oh, I love that. That just makes everything like so much more amazing than it already is.
Thanos like cursed Deadpool.
Deadpool of all people. Deadpool of all people is the one that gets the heart of the one that the Mad Titan seeks. That's just poetry right there.
It's funny. He cursed him with life, so Death they could never get together.
Oh God. Okay, anyways.
Okay, so let's go through our gems here. So in chronological order here, we start off with the big kind of inciting incident for all the Marvel Universe here, the Cosmic Cube, the Tesseract.
Oh yes,
which is the space
been all over the place. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So Basically, what this gem does is its power says like it provides it contains infinite energy that, when manipulated, can open wormholes, dimensions, can manipulate space. Essentially, it can also teleport you if you know how to use it right.
Mm-hmm.
So it landed in its history. It landed in Asgard, and then it was kind of in Odin's his treasure room. And we saw Odin's treasure room at the beginning of Thor, where like the
Sure.
there, like all his little treasures there. So the idea is we didn't see it, but the cosmic cube was stored there. And the idea is way back in the day, it was there. And then of course during one of his excursions to Earth, he stashed it away in a Midgardian church in Tonsberg, which is where we find it in First Avenger.
Okay.
So remember that the Red Skull, he goes to this little church, and he finds the
right. That's right. Yeah.
he finds the carving of the Asgardian tree of 9 realms, and he pushes the little button on the snake, and then there hidden is the cosmic cube.
Goes to show you just how well this whole thing was like tied together even before there was an Avengers movie, because Captain America was like, yeah, we're having Asgardian references. What up?
Yeah, really cool, really cool. So, here's what I get. I'm putting my own spin on this in terms of the science. Here's that if properly understood, because in the comics, the way the cosmic cube worked, it wasn't the Infinity Gem. It's a cool idea though to make it an Infinity Gem. But in the comics, the cosmic cube essentially was the Red Skull's source of power. Like he had this thing. It was like a genie in a bottle. He could do anything with this thing. That was the original thing with the cosmic cube. Now here they made it more practical in terms of.
You know what's ironic about that? Remember when I first saw Thanos in the movie theater? I was like, "Oh my god, it's totally Red Skull." anyways.
So what I got from this interpretation of the cosmic cube is that if it's properly understood, it can be a little closer to the comics. Then pretty much if you know how to harness it properly, it can grant you anything in terms of like it can teleport. Basically, it'll do its actually intended purpose of like teleportation and manipulating space, which kind of gives you the power to do almost anything. That's if you know how to work it. But obviously, Red Skull and the Earthlings here, they don't know how to use it properly, so they apply it to what they know best. Implements of war and technology, so they turn into an energy source. They use just the pure power of it, which of course foreshadows later on, why in Avengers and why humans aren't ready for this kind of power, which kind of Thor lays out for us there.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's a higher form of war. That's what this thing will signal if you're using it for this sort of thing. Yeah. It's basically the people's go-to is to use this thing to kill people. That's what the Red Skull does way back here. He uses this thing. It's pure energy. We don't know how it works. We're going to use this thing to our advantage to make weapons that will just vaporize people. Literally, that's what it does. It just vaporizes people. It's that powerful.
But isn't this one also with isn't it also how Loki got to Earth?
Yes,
the Tesseract.
So again, once kind of utilized properly, it can manipulate space and create portals. So that's later on in Avengers they develop how to or at least create a portal with it.
Okay.
But still, the go-to way back from the.
I'm gonna be upfront with here. You're like, I will admit that these whole like cosmic cubes and everything, and I do just consider them kind of MacGuffin. So it's like I'm into it in terms of like, especially now I know how it plays out in the Infinity Gauntlet saga and the comics, but it's just kind of hard to keep track of all the individual powers and everything like that. So,
well, I think the movies have done a good job in kind of visually distinguishing what each one does, and it's kind of making it cool. So I think it's easier to follow in the movies than the comics. The comics need kind of a flow chart sometimes.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
I mean, here's think about it. It was kind of a brilliant idea on their parts to make it not just the gem itself. Some cases it can be a gem, but other cases they make it into like a visually distinct shape or something. It's a cube in this case. It's kind of a liquidy thing. Next case, and it's an orb. So they are doing some really cool stuff there.
Right. Well, let's get into that next case, which is the ether. Now, this is a really interesting one due to what.
I'm sorry, did you want to go through what happened with the Tesseract ultimately, or you want to just jump to Ether?
No, go for it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's just we see ultimately after it's weaponized, the Tesseract ends up kind of transporting the Red Skull in a really cool way, ambiguously, like we don't know, vaporizing, but looks a lot like it teleported him. Which again, so he kind of it's something. So
I'm still convinced that the Red Skull is going to pop up again.
I would love that. I want Christoph Waltz to play him. I'm waiting for that.
Oh yeah, Christoph Waltz. Hell yeah, he'd be better than frickin' Hugo Weaving. Like at this point, I don't really care about Hugo Weaving. I just want that character back in there.
Of course, and the thing with so basically, let's talk about this, the Tesseract's kind of ramifications on the planet since Red Skull had it, and it's used basically being the ultimate weapon. The important thing with this thing is that being weaponized, it was the foundation Hydra was built on. So this was something so powerful. It can't even be held by mortal hands, because remember, if you hold it, like it burns, it starts to burn you. Nick Fury held it for a moment, was burning his glove.
Oh, and then we saw that awesome moment at the end of Guardians, where they're all holding it together. I mean, not the Tesseract, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and of course, just with the Tesseract, it literally melted through steel on a ship and everything.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Then ultimately, it sunk so far. Like Howard Stark found it at the bottom of the sea. It was that powerful. He drifted all the way down to like the seabed.
Oh dear. Yeah.
So then, following that, the Tesseract in Thor, we see at the end of Thor, we see it's in Shield's possession, and they have phase 2 plans for it. Basically weaponizing to like nuclear weapons, using this thing for nuclear applications, but also interdimensional stuff.
Man, those men in toilet rooms, man, they're all about just like nuclearize this, nuclearize that.
Oh yeah. So then in Avengers, so basically we see at the start Avengers are trying to harness this thing's energy, and also we can assume use it for offensive capabilities as we gather from the whole nuclear weapons base from this thing. Meanwhile, Thanos, the whole plot of Avengers in regards to Thanos with this thing, in terms of Thanos, we're going to be probably calling back to him a bunch of times through this because he's important.
He is, yeah. He is definitely the main player of the cosmic universe. For
basically, with Avengers, he wants the cube, and he does via the other kind of contacts Loki, and kind of makes a deal with him. Like, I'll give you an army, and the army with this scepter, which is another Infinity Gem we'll get to. And
sure.
I'll give you an army, do whatever you want with the Earth, but you bring us this cube after you're done. So basically, Loki's whole plan, this thing is get the Tesseract. And also, get the Tesseract, get the pieces to fashion into a portal, and then bring the Chitauri in to take over the planet, and eventually give the thing to Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to Selvig, ultimately it's shut down after his whole plans gets put in motion there. Thanks to Selvig shutting it down, thanks to Iron Man, you're getting that blowing up the Chitauri.
Yeah, but of course, just the ramifications of the Tesseract as a whole is, I've been watching the first couple episodes of Daredevil. And already I can tell you, it's like they are dealing with hey, we just had all these motherfucking Chitauri just fly out of the sky, and now Hell's Kitchen is even more of a dump than it usually is. So I'm like, yeah, bravo. They're really working it in. That whole incident, you're right. That Tesseract as a whole really was the start of everything.
Oh yeah, and of course the big thing from Avengers, Thor's warning that this signals the Earth is ready for a higher form of war. Going to a higher form of war kind of implicates, we're going to have a lot of threats coming to the Earth because of this, just the giant glowing thing that is the Tesseract, and of course the Chitauri blowing up. It's a big step. That's a big step. I'm surprised in Guardians of the Galaxy we haven't heard oh yeah, Chitauri blew up. Oh, wait, what? And the end fate of the Tesseract was that it was taken back to Asgard, because that's where it belongs, as back in Odin's treasure room.
But the big question now, of course, is now that Loki is posing as Odin, do you think he's going to get his hands on it?
And we'll see. Again, he didn't really want the Tesseract. He just wanted to destroy Midgard. So maybe it's not on his radar yet. But then again, Thanos at the end of Avengers, Thanos hears, at the Earth's mightiest heroes. We get that great line at the end from the other telling him about to court the Earth's mightiest heroes would be to court death.
Right.
Of course, he got that smile.
Yeah.
He's up for the challenge. He's all for this Infinity Gem hunt. He's all psyched about it.
Okay, so let's see.
Should we get to the next one? Should we get to the scepter because technically it was introduced in Avengers, or should we do?
Yeah, that makes sense. The scepter kind of follows into the Tesseract too because it's owned by Loki. So sure, let's get into that.
So with the scepter, as far as we're concerned, until the movie potentially proves us wrong here. The scepter The scepter is officially an Infinity Gem now. Thankfully, it's been confirmed. But I'm assuming it's the Mind Gem because all its uses imply it's Mind Gem.
Don't some people think that it's a Soul Gem?
Some people think it's a Soul Gem. We'll see how it plays out. They're going to confirm what it is in Age of Ultron, so I don't really see
Okay, that's
it being a
exciting.
Soul Gem. If they sell me on it, I'll buy it. But still, everything signals Mind Gem because it's affecting people's minds.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So basically, the power here is it shows the mind's desires, knowledge. Basically, it shows them like the knowledge that they consider truth. It's not just knowledge; it's truth. And also has mind control abilities, and also I think importantly to note again, if it is ultimately the mind gem in the movie, manipulation, because I'm getting a strong sense that in Age of Ultron we're going to see this thing bring out potential powers within the twins.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the route we're taking, and I think what's going to happen with that is we're going to get kind of like an even more sort of like elaborate version of the scene that we got in Avengers with all of them arguing with each other as the as the scepter's going off. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So the purpose of that in Avengers, Loki used that thing as a tool, obviously kind of amass like a temporary army to help him out in his endeavors, but more importantly, he used it to distract the Avengers. And also, kind of, we can assume he also used it to get Banner to Hulk out to kind of separate the team, and also probably shoot down the Helicarrier just for the heck of it.
Yeah, he was killing a lot of birds with one stone. He was a smart cookie.
Oh yeah, and of course we see there are some limitations of the failed use of the Loki Pokey stick on Tony Stark.
Oh, Tony Stark does not have a heart after all. Womp womp.
If I only had a heart.
Oh God.
Well, now we've seen Iron Man 3 that will actually work on him now going forward if he tried that again.
Yeah, about that.
Well, there's no arc reactor. I'm just saying it would work now.
I've heard that they basically retcon the ending of Iron Man 3. Yeah. Okay. That's what I've heard.
Oh, come on. How can they take away the arc reactor? Tiki, just because the suit has an arc reactor doesn't mean he has an arc reactor in his chest. You realize that, right?
No, I'm serious. I've heard. God damn it. This is going to have to get into like mild.
No mild spoilers. We're done. We're not talking about it. Moving on.
All right. Fine. Fair enough.
So we see
I genuinely don't want to ruin anything for you. So.
Don't ruin anything. Okay, so we see Black Widow. Importantly, we see Black Widow uses the scepter to close the portal, so it did ultimately defeat the Chitauri, her using that thing.
Right.
Yep. And also, it's Shield's possession. Oh, I'm sorry. At the end of the movie, here's the little in between of what happened between this and the end of Winter Soldier. So we've got some background in the tie-in comics of how the scepter.
Okay, nice. I'm interested.
So, yeah, it's not much, but it's kind of cool though. It's basically so at the end of Avengers, the scepter is in Shield's possession, as you can imagine.
Right.
Because literally it was on the Helicarrier. So Black Widow used it. So of course it's going to be in their possession. So basically, it's being researched by two scientists. One of the scientists is angry that he's not allowed to go into the field because he's mentally unsound enough to go into the field. So because he's like combat, and he's not ready for combat or something, Mm-hmm. So anyway, he's embittered by this, and then kind of Hydra pulling their connections here. Baron von Strucker, our big bad guy for Avengers 2, one of our big bad guys for Avengers 2. Well,
I mean, of course, he's probably going to be like the. Kind of the secondary bad guy to Ultron, of course.
Exactly. So Baron von Strucker, he basically contacts this one fed up SHIELD agent, kind of turns him into the Hydra side. Basically, the guy defects to Baron von Strucker, whose first task for him is steal the scepter, which he does. Mm-hmm. And that's how ultimately Winter Soldier, we see at the end of Winter Soldier in our awesome post-credit scene, that along with this is important. Here's what Hydra currently has going into Age of Ultron. In their basically the remnants of Hydra, the Hydra cells. Here's what they have. They have Chitauri guns. That's important. They have.
That's not good.
They have a bunch of Chitauri guns. They have the twins. They have the twins. They also had the big ending line with the reveal that they have Loki's scepter. Is that they've only scratched the surface. And this is the age of miracles.
Ooh.
Implication being that scepter is what kind of here's what I'm pulling for. That scepter, if it is the mind gem, which I'm really hoping it is the mind gem, but we'll see, that it unlocked their mental potential for having powers. That they had these powers, and basically it unlocked their potential for it.
You're talking Quicksilver.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, I that's definitely a good theory for sure.
Because the idea is in the tie-in comic, they basically said they went through like a whole bunch of people experimenting on him horribly and basically using the scepter, and these are the only two it worked on.
Sure, sure.
And with that also, we can just assume this is going to be kind of our cool idea of how to get these guys as bad guys like they are in the comics before they turn to good guys, under mind control.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not like as kind of like, I don't know. I'm just a little hesitant about the mind control after the Loki pokey stick, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, it would be kind of a good avenue to make sense because it did mind control in the Avengers, and now that's how it starts off our characters here. It's fulfilling its purpose.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that I hope we don't have a Hawkeye situation again.
Well, no, but again, I'm thinking with Hawkeye maybe connecting with these two on that level, it might be kind of make sense for him reaching them.
Okay, so it kind of rounds all three of their story arcs out.
Exactly, all of them potentially. Again, we're speculating here, potentially kind of being under the Scepter's control, and then just kind of him bringing them from the.
Oh brink. No! Oh God, I hope. Oh fuck no! I hope Hawkeye's not under the.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I mean, he previously having been controlled, he might be throwing. He might be shaking off the effects, and he knows what it's like, and he's
okay,
reaching them through that. That's what I mean.
I'm sorry.
So again, the Scepter / Mind, hopefully, and/or Soul Gem is in Hydra's possession at the end of Winter Soldier. So that's where it currently resides. And we see, and recently I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's going to have a big role in the movie. They've kind of established that basically they know that Hydra has it in their possession, and apparently it's worthy enough to call in the Theta Protocol, which we'll find out I'll find out next time Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm just going to go ahead and just make a blind assumption and assume that the opening scene is the Avengers going after that thing. Blind assumption.
Probably.
Okay, so what's next?
So we got the Ether. The reality zone.
All right, this is an interesting one in spite of it kind of coming within like a mediocre movie. So what do you think of this?
Oh yeah, I gotta tell you, I kind of wish, and granted, just to be a little harsh here, because with this movie is probably the one I can be harshest on.
Of course it is.
The Ether, making the Ether an Infinity Gem, I just wish they kind of showed that was more of because they say it's the Reality Stone. I wish they could have emphasized how it's affecting reality a little more, but it's more of like a symbolic reality. I don't know. Here's what it does. It creates dark matter so powerful it can destroy and affect reality. That's the idea. It's a little high concept. That's all I'm saying. I wish it was like a little more. You saw warp reality a little more. That's all I'm saying.
But at this point, I kind of feel like Marvel needs to start getting more high concept, though. Because if everything that's going to go down in Infinity Wars is going to go down like even like a fifth of how I imagine it would, then they're really going to start to need to raise the stakes. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is going to be a huge movie leading into that, but that's a different story. Anyways.
Now, look, to be fair, they saved that was a big surprise reveal at the end of Thor: The Dark World that this thing was an Infinity Gem. That was a big reveal for them because they had to serve a plot purpose of being just kind of this really destructive force that kind of threatened all of reality. Right. So it kind of makes sense. And I might be a little harsh on it, but still, I'm just saying I wish it was like showed a little more before that. But ultimately, it all pans out. So the idea with this thing too is that it's been around. It's been like a powerful weapon that. It bonds to a host until it drains that host completely dry, and depends on how far they can starve with the effects before.
Sounds kind of like symbiote.
Exactly, yeah, it is kind of like a symbiote because it needs a host to feed on because it is weak in its exposed form. That's why it bonds to Jane Foster first most because.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It has this red liquidy look too, which is kind of cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the idea is like if you can harness this, you will become very powerful. Your skin kind of darkens. You have immense power within your veins that can destroy or affect reality. And eventually,
that's right.
To be honest with you, there's another. Believe it or not, there's a plot hole in Thor: The Dark World.
No.
Yeah, the big plot was they didn't really explain how they get the ether out of the guy. of Malekith.
Okay.
They don't really explain how they get the ether out of him, so I can only assume that Volstagg and Lady Sif, they went there and they somehow extracted the ether from him, his dead body, perhaps. I'm just saying.
You know, to just do what Han and Chewie did to the Tauntaun.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's
the
what
point
I'm
is,
saying.
what's kind of neat visually is that when we first found this thing, it's in like a huge, like this crush between two giant rocks, and here it's like in this little tiny little version of that at the end of it. I just love that idea.
Yeah, it does go kind of through a visual progression throughout the movie.
And with that, then basically the purpose of that is really kind of a clever person to show you that, oh yeah, this is an Infinity Gem, because then it's handed directly to the collector. He has like in a little box. He's just messing around with it. And the collector says, 1 down, 5 to go.
Oh yeah. You want to talk about the collector a little bit?
Well, let's get into the next gem. He factors in more to that. So basically, remember, the ether, the reality gem, is with the collector currently, and we're going to get into that when we get into the next one, the orb, or better known as the Power Stone.
Okay, fair enough.
So basically,
now
tell us the power of this one, Tiki.
Yeah, this was the big one that was in Guardians of the Galaxy throughout the whole movie. It was essentially like, like the lost ark of Guardians of the Galaxy, if you will, because it was the object of power that everyone was chasing after, which made it a freaking awesome movie. Yeah. I don't know, in terms of the actual powers of it, all I know is that it has that thing where it's like if you even like so much as touch it, it can just like, emit these devastating explosions and whatnot. We saw it used during the collector's shop where that one slave girl, grabs onto it and it creates a big explosion. Yeah.
So containment is a big factor for this, and that's why it has to be like in these orb-like containers. Because if it's not in one of these things, it'll basically, again, if it touches anything, you have to be. It only works for really powerful people who can wield this thing, because otherwise it's sheer unadulterated destruction that will just like incinerate a planet. It has the power capable enough to destroy a planet. Essentially, it's a Death Star of an Infinity Gem. Seriously,
it's like a handheld. It's like an Death Star. It's like a handheld Death Star.
Now, here's the important thing in terms of handling this thing. So again, you only handle one of two cases. One, if you're really powerful and you can handle. So again, Thanos, I can believe, would be able to handle this thing. Mm-hmm. Potentially could handle this thing, in theory. So I'm saying really powerful people. Like Ronan is just by happenstance can hold this thing. Plus, he puts in the hammer, so he doesn't like directly holding it in his hand. And the other way to handle this thing is to siphon it off. We see it. If you can survive the effects for a while, if you siphon it off with a bunch of other people trying to, like each of them. We see at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, people touching the other person trying to starve off the energy, so it's not just all in one person.
Take my hand, Peter.
Oh, don't make me. Don't make me.
Oh, yeah.
It's really clever. I think it's a really clever idea. It's kind of way like it makes sense. You want to siphon this power off so it won't consume one guy.
Right. Yeah. It's a really clever kind of. It's definitely out of all the gems that we've gotten, it's probably the one I have the most firm grasp on, just because it's the one that was used pretty much all throughout a movie.
Well, I think the Tesseract also is used all throughout the movie.
Yeah, but I still feel like this was more of like, I don't know. The Tesseract's fine too. In general, I just felt like we got to know a little bit more about this. But whatever, it's not a competition. It's not a race. You're
right. So again, Thanos really wants this one because barring the Time Gem, which we still haven't been introduced to yet, this is probably the most powerful, literally power's in his name of the gems. So Thanos really wants this one, and that's why he sends Ronan the Accuser and Korath, the Pursuer. By the way, I love Korath's full name, Korath the Pursuer. He's our Ninja Turtle looking guy.
Oh dear.
Well, Peter Quill's words, mind you.
Okay. I know who you're talking about now. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, he sends two of his best agents to go get this thing, and of course, Quill kind of puts a wrench in that. Then he sends Gamora to get it from Quill. After like a prison escape and a bunch of shenanigans, they take it to the Collector. We meet the Collector. Of course, we had a little glimpse in the Collector with the ether. So let's talk about the Collector.
All right. Well, first of all, I just have to give props to Benicio del Toro because he is absolutely just insane in this role, and I love him.
Yeah, he is really fun. He's got a menace about him too, because Mary's just talking to Karina before he left him.
He does, which is so appropriate. It's so appropriate for the character. Okay, I don't really know a ton about this guy. I did watch a video or two involving his origins, so from what I can pick up, he's basically he's kind of in a spot where he's in an awkward relationship between working with Thanos and wanting to keep the Infinity Gems away from Thanos. Is that what I'm led to believe, or am I just getting that out of nowhere?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a complex in the comics, similar to that. We don't know how it stands in the movies quite yet, because otherwise, why wouldn't Thanos just purchase it from the Collector? But then again, you know, Thanos, I don't think he'd be the guy to purchase this sort of thing. He'd just take it and probably try to kill the guy. I think the Collector's just trying to. He's in competition with Thanos, trying to get the stuff before he does. So
yeah, exactly. But do you think he intends to do like evil things with it?
No, I think.
Or does he just want it for his collection?
To be honest with you, I just think the Collector's whole shtick is that he wants the ultimate collection. That's what he does. So he basically gets.
Okay.
He just wants the gems because they're the most powerful things in the universe, and they deserve to be in his collection. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Sometimes the Collector's a little more villainous than other places, but you know,
right. Yeah.
I like here and he's ambiguous.
Do you want to go over a couple of the Easter eggs that we see with the Collector?
Oh yeah, sure. So the thing with the Collector is that, you know, he will put like living things in these cells just so he can have them. Pretty much his collection, like a bunch of like glass cases, display cases, and, you know, places all around his grand shop he's got here. And one thing that's intimidating about it is, you know, Karina. He says, "Okay, Karina, you know, follow instructions. You know, we got to dazzle these people, or else, you know, you'll be like your replacement, the person you replace." And we see the girl, like the former assistant to the Collector, in a case. It's just so sad and so twisted that he. if he fires somebody, he's not going to fire him. He's going to collect them. That's so creepy.
Yeah, there's some super dark comedy going on here.
Okay, so let's go through some stuff. We got we have a Chitauri body. I presume a dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Chitauri body. And then we Chitauri parts.
Oh, we have a dark elf.
Yeah, we got a dark elf from Thor: The Dark World, indeed. Well, Stanley was there, but they had. At one point he was, but then they had he was gonna have that was going to be his cameo. He was going to be in the case, and he was going to be kind of a mean Stanley cameo. Actually, it was going to be still kind of a neat idea though. He was going to.
That would have been awesome.
They shot it with a double, and then because a placeholder for Stan until they got him, but then I forget why, but they said it was a little too mean for Stanley, so the studio shut him down on it. Stanley, he was looking at Groot. Groot was like looking at him, and then he just gave Groot the finger.
Oh no! Oh God, Stan, come on!
I love the idea. Plus, they thought it was just too dark, just putting poor old Stanley in a Collector's case. So that was the other reason for it. But importantly, I just love the idea of Stan being being a collectible. I love that idea.
Well, Stan is the ultimate Marvel collectible.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Plus, it might kind of give credence to the idea.
He only has like one screen time in every Marvel movie.
And it might
there's only a limited run of Stan.
It might give credence to the kind of the cool theory that Stan might be the Watcher of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
It's keeping it cosmic. But I kind of get why they cut it. He says, Stan's America's. We love Stan. He's America's Marvel. We can't have given the finger to our beloved Tree character. Anyway, so some other ones. You want to name a few?
Oh well, there's Cosmo, right?
Yes, there's Cosmo. Now, Cosmo actually, in the run that inspired this movie for Guardians of the Galaxy, like the story, basically the character looks and stuff for this Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe it's. I'm gonna get the title. Again, I'm not a huge Guardians guy, except for now because I've seen the movie. And the movie's fantastic. The comics are kind of emulating the movies now, but. There was like a story in 2008 with Guardians of the Galaxy that kind of inspired most of the movie, and in that one, Cosmo was on the team.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and the idea is Cosmo and Rocket Raccoon are kind of enemies, and they're working together, and they don't like each other.
Oh no, are they like rivals?
Yeah, they're rivals, and that's why there's that bit in there, like they're like Rocket Raccoon's just looking at him, he doesn't like him.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
And James Gunn mentioned that he kind of wanted to put Cosmo in there, but there just wasn't any room for him.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense. It's already a really crowded film, and I feel like they got it just right in terms of like how much screen time they gave everyone. So
yeah, I think it's a great idea though, just to put a little reference to him in there. And of course, the idea, hey, the collector.
well, there's always a sequel.
Yeah, he's got a little pal, the cosmonaut dog. And apparently, the dog likes because he's looking at the end there.
You're just gonna sit there and let you lick him like that?
Yes. Now, of course, the most
disgusting.
Why don't you introduce that guy for us now? Who is that?
I just did. It's Howard the Duck.
Yes, Howard the Duck. Oh boy, Howard the Duck. You can also see him in the scene, by the way. He's in the background, but he's there.
But he's very prominent in the end credits, of course.
Howard the Duck. Also,
now let's just go over this right now. How are we going to work Howard the Duck in more? I want more Howard the Duck.
You know, there is actually kind of like, I'm assuming it's just kind of like fan talk that there might be a Howard the Duck movie in the works.
I would love a Howard the Duck movie. I would also love him to be like a side character in Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe even like a comic relief side character in Infinity Wars. I don't know. Just work him in, man.
I definitely think there could be. They have to put another cameo of him in Guardians of the Galaxy too. Maybe I'm saying give him like a little.
They have to.
I'd like if they gave him a scene. To be honest with you, I'd love to see them give him a scene, just kind of test the water, see if they can do anything with this guy.
Right.
Also, here's the
let's
thing.
see.
We see the big kind of little thing in here. We also saw in the Thor: The Dark World is we see the Adam Warlock cocoon.
Oh, that's right, the cocoon. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Adam Warlock. I don't know that much about Adam Warlock, but I guess we'll piggyback to him later on. You want to discuss him now a little bit?
Yeah, just based on the information that I was able to kind of glean from all of this, and keep in mind, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the biggest comic book fan. I'm kind of just doing research off of videos that other kind YouTubers put up. But Adam Warlock, from what I could tell, he was essentially the main leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Is that correct?
Yes, he's a prominent member on the team usually, and there's an ambiguity whether he's going to have like a huge role in the next. Well, but the speculation is he might be a new Guardian added to the team, and/or Peter Quill's father.
So basically, what happens within the context of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline is Adam Warlock essentially comes down. He consults with Doctor Strange, and between the two of them, they kind of realize that Adam Warlock is the guy who's going to like take control of this whole thing. But then what ends up happening is Adam Warlock just kind of like makes this crazy sort of strategy, this convoluted strategy revolving around sending a whole bunch of Avengers to their death as Adam Warlock and Silver Surfer kind of just wait around. And it's just kind of this whole big elaborate thing where they're trying to kind of draw Thanos out and kind of get Thanos when he's not looking. So in terms of Adam Warlock, I definitely think he could. I almost saw him, like, just the brief time I was kind of like doing research on him, I almost saw him as kind of like the cosmic universe equivalent to Thor.
Well, the big thing you'll notice with Warlock in the movie that suggests that we'll definitely be getting him in Infinity War, if not Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but definitely Infinity War, is that you notice that cocoon after the Collector's Place is kind of blown to heck, which we'll get to in one moment here. At the end of the movie, when we see him getting licked by Cosmo, the cocoon's gone. It's open and it's empty.
Oh, snap.
So the idea is that Adam Warlock, he hatched and he went away for further adventures. And the other thing, Adam Warlock, again, I'm not a huge fan. I don't really know much about this guy. And I believe a big thing with him is that he kind of at some point had the soul gem in his body. So like he's like the embodiment of the soul gem. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Again, it's another reason I'm kind of doubting the soul gem will be in Age of Ultron. But again, we'll see. I can see a vague connection with what's done in with the gem in Avengers that could potentially be the soul gem, but I still think Mind Gem's just much better. But we'll see. I'm sorry. This time it's kind of just the thought is just I'm hearing a rumor, just making me think, what sense does that make? But again, Marvel, they could always wow us with anything at this point,
or they just hate you, one or the other. Okay, so let's see. That was Adam Warlock. Where do you want to go next? We still have to cover big ones like Thanos, Nebula, Gamora.
Well, powering on through with the fate of the Power Stone here. So basically, Karina, his assistant, she demonstrates the true power of the capabilities of the Power Stone as she resigns. We'll say, "I will no longer be a servant to you." Grabs the thing, boom. A lot of pieces and also a lot of destruction in there. A cool slow-mo shot of Groot saving Rocket's life. And again, just a real creepy thing with the collectors. He wants to pay Groot for his body to put in his collection.
Yeah, and Groot is naive enough to almost go along with it, too.
Adorable.
Oh, God.
Okay, so basically, also the collector's loaded. We should probably list that out there. The collector's got a lot of cash, understandably. He has a huge collection. He must have
And
a
he
lot
is also, at least according to the comic books, he is also one of the oldest beings in existence.
That makes sense.
So that's a big thing to point out.
It'd be funny if there was like a weird, like kind of a Lego movie type, like Marvel comic where they tie in everything like to reality somehow. And basically, what the collector was like the first Marvel fan who collected things.
Oh, God.
Like, what if that were an idea?
It's Star Wars movie, but we'll talk about that in a week or so.
It's like what if Galactus were actually Jack Kirby personified in the Marvel universe, and like what if
Jack Kirby personified? That'd be pretty terrifying.
No, they've actually done that.
Be like Jack Kirby, just like looking down on us and judging us.
No, they've actually done something similar to that. When the Fantastic Four died in a story, when the Thing died.
Okay.
Basically, kind of did this weird. I want to read this story, but it's in one of my favorite lines of the Fantastic Four, but I don't have it on trade yet, so I can't really read it. But to my knowledge, basically, they somehow meet God, and it's Jack Kirby, and he redraws the Thing.
No,
I know it's really. I can't tell you what happens. I haven't read it, but that essentially it's a really kind of
wow. That's just basically just breaking the fourth wall and just being like, nah, just kidding. This character's alive.
But there's something really kind of moving and cool about that. He's just redrawing the pieces on the Thing.
Oh, God.
It's really cool looking, but again, I haven't read the story, so I can't tell you if that's exactly what happens.
You think in the Fantastic Four remake, they're going to have the CGI developers come in and kind of like rearrange all the individual CGI sprites on the Thing if he collapses at a certain point?
No. Anyway, okay, so basically the ultimate ending of this gem is that, Ronan and Nebula, after the Collector's Place blows up, they retrieve the stone. Ronan gets cocky, threatens Thanos, not a good move. He takes the stone, becomes powerful. He wants to destroy Xandar. Really wants to destroy Xandar. He goes there, he's about to put the hammer to the planet, but then a little dance-off interrupts him, and he gets defeated.
Oh, I love the dance-off.
Yep, and then basically at the end here, we got Yondu and the Ravagers. They come by because they had a little deal worked up with the Quill to get the Power Stone here, but then thankfully there's a little bit of a switch out with a little troll doll, and it's now in the safe possession of the Nova Corps.
I love how the troll doll is one of the first things that you see on the ship, and you see it throughout the whole movie, and then it's one of the last things you see in the movie.
It just sounds so sad to me that DreamWorks is doing a movie based on the trolls.
I know. I'm just like, why? I mean, there's some concepts that you can do that are out there that I think would work. Like the Lego movie, for example, was a perfect idea. Trolls is not one of them. Anyways. All right, so what next do we have?
Okay, so again, remember, the Power Stone is with the Nova Corps at this moment. So basically, remember, our other gems are the Time Gem and the Soul Gem. Again, Soul, debatably, we'll see. And Mind Gem most likely is the Scepter if it's not the Soul Gem. And again, Soul Gem could potentially be Adam Warlock, and Mind Gem could potentially be the Scepter. So again, we'll see.
Y'all following that?
But you get it though, right? So we got the Time Gem is left. The Time Gem.
I get it. Yeah.
Time should be the orange one, and Soul should be the yellow one. But again, we'll see with if Soul and Mind switch somehow. It's weird. Okay, so then let's get into our other big guys here. So we got Thanos, the Mad Titan.
All right. Yeah, Thanos, he can't be much more of a big guy than he already is.
Yeah, a lot of resources. He looks really cool in a floating chair. Looks very intimidating.
I really liked kind of getting to know the background on this guy and how he had like this insane sort of affection for death, and that was what really kind of fascinated me about this guy. So we have to get Lady Death here, right? We have to.
Eventually, I'm
because
hoping.
because if she's not in there, then the whole thing just completely falls apart. The whole point of the story.
Yeah, I'm hoping they actually opt for, like, that little thing I told you at the beginning of this, like how the history was kind of established in that little Easter egg in Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm getting a strong sense we are going to see the physical the physical embodiment of death, not just like the idea of death.
Right.
So
Because
I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's what I found so fascinating about this Thanos in the comics. And might I just say, the comic version of Thanos, they've done a great job in terms of just like, just moving that design over. Because Josh Brolin, he brings the visual intimidation. He brings kind of all the menace. He's really onto it for the few very brief scenes that we've actually seen of him so far.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I gotta wonder about death here because I'm getting a strong sense it's gonna be kind of unfortunate, but not the worst thing in the world that in the Deadpool movie, in theory, the Deadpool movie, we'd have two versions of death, kind of like we had with the X-Men and in Age of Ultron here, because with a character owned by two companies technically.
Right.
Death, I mean, I guess she's more Marvel, so she's probably just going to be owned by Marvel playing some. But she does have a big role in the Deadpool story. She gives him a reason to live. So
and that's cool and all. I really just love the idea of like this mad, power-hungry Titan just blowing down galaxies, and then Lady Death. It's like every time he does it, she just gets more and more uninterested, and he's just not taking the hint.
And yet she loves Deadpool. Yeah, it's kind of
right. Yeah.
The way I think it's going to go, I think they're just going to stick her with Marvel. But I mean, it'd be kind of cool if we got like two versions of her, kind of like we have with Quicksilver. Like a Marvel version of her, and then we got the Fox version of her.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes because I have definitely not been hearing the kindest things about the Maximoff twins. So.
All right. Okay. So let's see. So Thanos again. It looks really intimidating in a floating chair. Is what we've seen of in Guardians. You're right. Josh Brolin. Fantastic guy to play him. I love this little reveal comic. Just has the giant infinity, the plastic infinity gauntlet on. Looks really cool. So basically, in a nutshell,
I love all those moments in Guardians where he tells Ronan, he calls Ronan boy.
Oh yeah, and my favorite Thanos line. Just again, he hasn't had many lines. My favorite line is just said is like, "I will bathe." Basically, fail me again, right? And I will bathe the stars in your blood. That's so cool. So basically, in a nutshell, I think he's just kind of said here with the comics, he kind of translates the movie here. Basically, he wants to kill many. He wants to kind of with the gems. He will put them in the Infinity Gauntlet. He will kill many people to impress death, but also kind of rule the world, then kill people, then impress death.
Yeah, and as I was kind of like doing research, I was like, holy crap! Like this guy, in terms of just the sheer amount of power he has, it's like he's just basically got like a super powered weapon that can wipe out galaxies. He can rewind time like Prince of Persia style. He can just do anything he wants. It's insane, and I can't wait to see how those sort of ramifications are going to go throughout this cinematic universe.
It's a guy with 6 doomsday weapons at literally his fingertips.
Yeah. So, good stuff there.
Let's go through some of the horrible stuff. Well, not horrible, the really terrifying, like monstrous things this Mad Titan has done in the cinematic universe. Well, it's been established in Guardians of the Galaxy that he killed every person on Gamora's planet, including her parents, right in front of her.
Yeah, genocidal, indeed.
Big time genocidal. And also, he did all this to adopt her. Essentially, he killed her parents right in front of her in a way as a means of adopting her. And I'm thinking, in a way, kind of similar to Collector a bit, that he did this. He basically, the reason he spared her life is he saw the opportunity to have like a rare assassin of some sort, like someone who has potential here. I can use her, and she'll be the only one of her kind, so she has no family to think of. And it's kind of Thanos thinking a few steps ahead here. And if she ever just dreams of getting revenge on me, I'm going to demoralize her so much she will never consider that. Which he goes to great lengths to do. So basically, here's the story from the tie-in stuff for Gamora here between her and Thanos.
Okay, I think I've heard of this before. So
it's not much. It's kind of stuff that's hinted at in Guardians in the movie. He surgically modified her with like some cybernetics, not as bad as Nebula, which we'll get to her momentarily, but basically modified her with some cybernetics. we also know that she trained under Ronan the Accuser. Essentially, Ronan the Accuser was kind of like the basically was kind of the trainer, the guy that kind of he was like the taskmaster. He kind of oversaw Gamora, Nebula, and also Korath the Pursuer's training. That's why Korath and Ronan are so close to each other in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, those are kind of like students of this guy, and that's why Ronan the Accuser is kind of like we saw when Gamora is being arrested in prison. You know, we saw that little. I love the little flow chart that appears. Like, you know, there's Thanos and there's Ronan, and you know, there's the two daughters. It's color coordinated too. It's really clear for the audience. Really nice. Okay, so basically Thanos' method here is train them till they break, and then rebuild them. So basically, train Gamora until she starts to falter.
It's almost kind of the same sort of method that they use for the Black Widow program.
Yeah. Yeah, but here it's like instead of killing them, it's like train them until they break their bones and everything. We're going to rebuild them with cybernetics until they just mechanical and just like just like kind of devoid of emotion. They're going to make them even more ruthless. But you see how willing they are to kill someone at the most gruesome way possible at the sign of like a drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I'm sorry. That was kind of me talking about Gamora too. So
yeah. Don't worry about it.
So, yeah,
you want to get into Nebula and Gamora? Do you have more on Thanos?
Well, again, the only thing really there was kind of with Thanos' methodology there, and of course, after Ronan tries to betray Thanos, not a smart move. He obviously just sees this kid as a boy. Thanos realizes at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, he has to do his own dirty work because people are betraying him left and right. So he's going to be taking a really proactive role. Again, as a matter of the others killed too, so he doesn't even have his little interpreter guy. So he's all alone right now.
That's true. Yeah.
Nebula also betrayed him. The question is if Thanos is going to realize Nebula betrayed him. I'm sure we're going to get that answer in Infinity War.
Or Guardians too, probably.
Good point. I didn't think it, but again, I'm really hoping Nebula has a role in Infinity War because she doesn't have as you read.
Oh my God, I'm sure she would, considering her huge role she has in the comics.
Certainly. So
I couldn't imagine her not playing into Infinity War.
So Thanos is going to be doing a lot of his own dirty work, which means the Mad Titan's going to get his hands dirty, and just seeing how menacing that guy is, and knowing that Josh Brolin's coming back to play him, it's really an awesome prospect.
Yeah, it's gonna make us like very intimidated in our theater seats when time comes.
Okay, so let's get to Nebula, another huge pillar in kind of our cosmic universe here.
Yeah, well, actually, Thanos. Do you think are we saving all our speculation for the end?
Yeah, let's save our Ultron. Let's save our Ultron spec.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, because I don't think there's going to be much anyway.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So you might as well.
Okay. All right.
So Nebula, played by the wonderful Karen Gillan, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's definitely a character where everything I've been hearing about her since she's appeared in Guardians, it's like, oh, this is one to look out for. Like, this one's going to have a really big role coming up.
I remember that too.
Yeah, and then I pretty much read the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, and I was like, yep, okay, I got it. So let's see. Her, I don't know. I find her... Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I got some tie-in stuff for like how she's been set up in the cinematic.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to give some comic stuff before I do that. What do you think?
No, honestly, I find her character to be so different in the comics that I don't even think it's really... Like, they're obviously just doing their own thing with Nebula and Gamora, and I don't even want to touch how it's different from the comics. So, yeah, let's just get into some MCU backstory.
Okay, so here's kind of the unsaid backstory for them in Guardians. So, basically, she joined Thanos. So it was more... she's still clad in mystery, which makes her kind of the awesome Boba Fett of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is really cool. You know, she has... Like, we don't know...
She is not as cool as Boba Fett.
No, I'm saying of Guardians of the Galaxy, she's kind of the Boba Fett of Guardians.
I would actually wager to say that freaking Yondu is the Boba Fett of Guardians.
Actually, I think you're right. Yondu's kind of.
But you know how much I love my Michael Rooker, so.
But then again, Yondu's kind of a cross between Jabba and Boba, though. He's kind of a cross between those two.
Oh God.
I don't know, but you get a point. I'm saying.
We picked you up, my boys. They wanted to eat you. They never tasted Terran before.
Okay, but yeah, seriously, Nebula, she's really cool. The idea is like there's still some mystery in her background. Like we don't know like how willingly she joined Thanos. Like we don't know if her planet was destroyed like it was done with Gamora. The point is she joined Thanos somehow, and it seemed to be more
Oh,
willing than Gamora. But she trained with Gamora, and there's the kind of a she suffered greatly because the idea is, and this is kind of a cool idea they've built up here that. She's always been inferior to Gamora, which is why Thanos favors Gamora more than Nebula. That's why there's always that rivalry there.
yeah, you definitely get that throughout the movie.
So the idea is like in their training, she was constantly bested by Gamora, and which is why Gamora's the favorite. And she's been subjected to great pain. Again, you feel it's a real tragedy between these two because these two are kind of like in a way it's they're war-bound sisters almost in terms of like the fact that they are both kind of alone and mistreated by Thanos, and they both don't like the guy, but they realize they're in servitude to him, so they have this kind of a sisterly bond, which we do see in the movie. A bit of like Gamora wants to save her because she feels bad for Nebula. It's really kind of good dynamic they got there.
Sure, sure.
And the thing is, like, the tragedy is, like, Gamora was pushed so hard by Thanos. That's why she became really ruthless in the fighting her, and that's why she would injure her all the time. And that's why, essentially, Nebula would have to have all these cyber. She would have more cybernetics than Gamora because Gamora would injure her so severely in training.
Right. Okay. So that's interesting. That really ties into like one of the final times we see Nebula in the film, where where we see kind of some exposed electrical circuits in here. If I'm
Let me get to
correctly.
the big reveal in that one, like how severe like her cybernetics, because we saw like her jaw and stuff is like this weird kind of like plasticky material. But let me get to like the most creepy one in that movie that they explain the time and stuff. During a training mission to another planet, she and Gamora were there, and basically Nebula, again, because she's inferior to Gamora, she gets kind of trapped in the inhabitants of the planet or surrounding her. She's kind of in a tough spot. Essentially, she's in a what's the James Franco movie, 127 hours type scenario.
Yeah.
So basically, she's trapped, and like her arm's trapped, and basically Gamora wants to save her, but then she's like Thanos contacts her like on communicator or something, and then basically Thanos says, leave her, she's weak, basically let her fend for herself.
Evil bastard.
And then again, so Gamora doesn't want to do it, but she can't contest Thanos' power, so she has to leave her sister there in a way, or so kind of her not stepsister, but like her surrogate sister.
Adopted sister, yeah.
Yeah, it's better. Yes, adopted sister, and then just basically Nebula. I mean, points to her, but still really gruesome. She had to cut her own arm off to get out of that situation. That's why she has the really
just like James Franco did.
Exactly. She has again. She has that's why she has the weird cybernetic arm that she loses the hand to at the end of Guardians.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Whole arm's gone. Okay. Anyway, so then essentially her shtick in Guardians of the Galaxy, she's kind of been on a weird path to redemption in Thanos' eyes. She wants to prove herself to Thanos, even though he says, you lost my favorite daughter, Gamora. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, that's a great comment.
No, seriously, Nebula's all really cool. And the way Karen Gillan plays her, like, she actually shaved her head for that role?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Props to her for that, for sure.
Seriously, she's really good in that role. I can't wait to see more of her. And also, again, at the end of Guardians, we see like she's battling she's battling Gamora, and she's more than willing to turn on Thanos when she sees the prospect of Ronan kind of having some power. He just takes the upper hand. Well, look, if you can do it, I'll side with you, man. I won't stop you from taking on Thanos. I hate that guy. And then at the end, we see she escapes. We don't know how much Thanos knows of her betrayal, but I'm sorry, Tiki, you're trying to say something? I can't tell if you're.
No.
Sorry, I thought the audio was out for a second. But anyway, so then ultimately Nebula pulls kind of a Boba Fett-ish escape.
Yes, she does. And it's pretty awesome.
She basically kind of like her arms caught on the thing. She leaves, and she actually less Boba Fett, more Winter Soldier, because Winter Soldier literally does this in Captain America. He kills the guy and rides in the ship. And here she basically lands on we think she's gone for, but then she's a goner. And she lands on a ship, punches through the windshield, throws the guy out, and then drives the ship off. That's so cool.
Oh yeah. All right, and then let's see anything else on Gamora.
Nothing really on Gamora. She's now on the side of good, which is nice. She's always kind of a really cool character. She didn't get a lot of. I think she could have gotten some more cool stuff doing Guardians. We'll see in Guardians 2 that rectified. I hope.
I think her role in Guardians, kind of watching that movie over and over, I feel is kind of like the the straight person of
Yeah,
that
which is
group,
fine.
you know what I mean?
Again, she has a lot of funny lines too, and she's really fun. I just wish we had more of her.
Yeah, she is, and I definitely think that I think it's good that they didn't go full out into like, oh, Star-Lord and Gamora are totally a thing now. No, I think it's good that if they're going to go that route in the first place, that it's now kind of like sequel territory
Yeah,
now.
who put the sticks up the butts?
I don't really like that line.
Well, that's kind of funny. Like, well, we're as cool as Kevin Bacon. Like, we're as brave as Kevin.
Yeah, but I think I just think it's a bit of a plot hole considering, isn't it Drax's race that's supposed to like not understand metaphors?
Well, I mean, still, it's a. Well, no, it's kind of it's a reference, not a metaphor. It's not like an old adage. It's just like, oh, actually,
Sticks up your butt is a metaphor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it is.
There you go. Okay, fine.
All right. Anyways,
I don't know.
So I say that's a good.
She still is of a different alien species, so we'll give her this.
That's fine. It's fine. I'm just kidding. It's a minor nitpick.
Okay, so let's talk about kind of the Kree in the room here. We got Ronan and just the Kree Empire.
Yeah, so I really I kind of appreciate this guy on his own in terms of like his role in the Marvel universe. I don't really much appreciate his role within Guardians. I mean, he had a couple good moments. You want me to tell you my favorite moment he had?
What?
It was right at the very end after the ship crashed, and he's you know, everyone's kind of like celebrating for a little while, but then he comes out and he's got the gauntlet. And everyone is just like so terrified.
Well, not the gauntlet.
Like,
he has the hammer.
Whatever the fuck he has. I'm sorry. But you know what I mean, though. You know, all those reactions of all those people, like, oh God, there he is. I was like, okay, like, you got that. Like, I genuinely feel like that guy is a menacing son of a bitch in that moment.
You're Guardians of the Galaxy.
You said it yourself. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy, bitch.
Oh, but still, you know, the thing with Ronan is that in the comics, he's a little more... obviously, comics, he's more interesting, but I like it they had the hints at Ronan in the movie, though, and there were some good hints. I wish we had, like, at least one more scene of him being more kind of judge, the accuser type guy he is.
Yeah, because that's his freaking name, right?
Because I mean, we get a bit of it. It's insinuated, and we see him judge someone in the beginning. I just wish we had like another bit of that. Because the idea is he's just kind of more.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we have Ronan the accuser, and we're gonna get all the accusing done like within the first 10 minutes of screen time.
The thing is, like, he's just more. In the comics, he's more kind of like the demented lawyer of the Marvel universe. You know, he's just kind of like the demented cosmic lawyer.
So he's Saul Goodman of the Marvel universe.
Well, I mean, actually, sorry, not lawyer, more like prosecutor. He's the judge, jury, and executioner type guy.
Yeah.
I accuse you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it was kind of. But still, I liked again. I compared to Malekith, I thought he was very good.
Yeah, he had a good presence to him. I liked the costumes. I liked the makeup on him and everything like that. I just did not think he was particularly well utilized within the film.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just rewatching though, you have like these good bits where like Ronan the Accuser in his character, he does embody the Kree culture. He lives and breathes it, and we see like the bit in the whole ceremonial bit there was like he's bathing in the blood of his enemies, and he's like having the whole ceremonial stuff done, the war paint and everything.
Right.
No, I think he had a good. I don't know. I still think he was. He was pretty cool. I mean, he could have had more scenes. You're right. You're right about that. But I don't know. He's still pretty cool.
He is. I mean, you're right. He is better than Malekith for sure. I'd even wager to say he might be better than Whiplash.
Oh, I'll give it. You know, I might have to give because he's just so darn cool. I might have to give him that.
Okay. Anyways, but he's still kind of like in the bottom of the MCU villains still.
Yeah, but again, he had some diamonds, a lot of diamonds in there, though.
Not too many, besides Loki and I guess all the Iron Man villains kind of fit. Well, yeah, besides fucking Whiplash.
Obadiah Stane's pretty cool.
He's not the greatest. I would put him within weak villains.
I mean, he's more like the businessman bad guy. He's pretty cool in that regard.
Yeah, I know, which makes him kind of weak. All right. Anyways, this isn't a villain discussion podcast.
So with Ronan, okay. So which of the Kree and Ronan in general? Because again, Ronan is kind of like he's like the mascot of the Kree here. He's they're blue-skinned aliens. I believe they have green blood, if I'm remembering correctly. They basically the Kree race in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to my knowledge, they're very pro-war. You know, like they're very proud of their lifestyle. They're very militant. You know,
their whole thing is like kind of going down and tearing down peace treaties and whatnot.
Yeah, and here's I still there hasn't been any confirmation for this, but I can only deduce this from Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I'm convinced I'm right on this. That I believe the Kree's problem is the Kree's main shtick is that they hate integration of species, and that's why they hate Xandar so much. Is that they hate I'm convinced like the Kree. I'm convinced like the Kree way of life is, hey, we're all of the same species here, and we celebrate our culture, which is like
so they're essentially Nazis.
Well, more racist than Nazis, I guess, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. You're right. They are kind of they are exterminated, but the thing is, they're not willing.
Yeah, they are kind of Nazis. I mean, come on, let's just call a spade here.
Yes, but they're not like really willing to work with anybody, though. It's like they're doing like all themselves.
Yeah, like Nazis aren't really willing to work with anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying, they work. They have like all the the fact that the Japanese helping them out and everything.
Yeah, whatever.
And anyway, the point is like, they are pretty much Nazis. But the point is like they're against kind of the integration of species, which is what I can gather because Xandar, because that was one of the cool visual things with Xandar. We see a bunch of different alien species and races going around each other, which is really kind of cool. And basically, it's an insult to the Kree way of life, and we can't have a peace treaty with these people, so we're going to basically destroy their planet, destroy the Xandarian way of life. Boom. So again, they're really strict, and basically kind of like a zealot, like Ronan the Accuser especially, he's kind of the big zealot of the planet. He's like all about these beliefs, and we have to live and breathe these beliefs. And even the Kree themselves, they didn't want to mess with Ronan because they realized, man, this guy's kind of nuts. I don't want to mess with him.
Sure.
That's why they won't do anything. That's why Glenn Close calls him a prick because they won't help out in this matter.
Now, even though Ronan is defeated, do you think that the Kree in general are going to play into the story?
Well, the Kree has actually been up to a few things in the Marvel Universe on S.H.I.E.L.D. So, I mean, the Kree, they can always do stuff.
Oh, on S.H.I.E.L.D.? Okay.
I'll get into it when we're talking about the Kree right now. So here's kind of, actually, I'll get into it right now. So here's kind of the backstory on what's been going on with the Kree in general, aside from Ronan. So Ronan was just, we saw it in the Guardians of the Galaxy, one Kree, one destroyed planet. It's him in a nutshell. So here's what the Kree's done. The Kree's, again, they're really scientifically advanced, but they're limited to their zealot-like beliefs and like their unwillingness to advance into other cultures. Like basically, they will advance their own culture to the max, but they won't share it with anyone else. You know what I mean?
Okay, I gotcha.
And basically here's what they've done here's some of their advanced technologies we've seen on S.H.I.E.L.D. They have experimented on Earthlings, Terrans, if you will. Young. They constructed these devices.
I've never tasted Terran before.
They constructed an alien device called a diviner. Now, the diviner, essentially, the Kree are responsible for the Inhumans, and here's how. They came up with this device called the diviner. It's a metal object with a special purpose. Basically, if you touch it and you are not compatible, basically everyone on the planet, like a mist was released that kind of gave people potential to have powers. Okay,
fair enough. Okay,
around this device, like this device is deployed on the planet. The mist comes out. It kind of divines if you are worthy of the powers that this device can bestow upon you. And if you touch it and you're not compatible, what will happen is like you will turn to rock and it will kill you.
Whoa, okay.
It's like this. It's like not even just rock. It's like this really weird decaying effect. It looks really rocky. Basically, if you touch it and you're not right for it, you will die. There's no way you can tell if you're right for it or not. You can only you can only hope. And then it's kind of like the Inhuman kind of X gene, if you will. Like if you can touch this thing, and you can become an Inhuman. Okay. So basically, if you touch this thing and you survive, it will provide you with information with like how to get to a Kree temple that's on the Earth, which we see. It's in I believe it's in Puerto Rico and in S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like this subterranean. Oh, wow. It's like a subterranean city that if you either have Kree blood or you've touched this device in the Sky and Agent Coulson. Coulson, he had Kree blood infused in him, and that's why he knows where the city is. That kind of drives you insane because you see these markings. and that's a map.
Right. Okay.
Basically, if you have Kree blood, you know where to find this temple, which is what ultimately happens. So they go to this temple, and when you bring the diviner to this temple, it will open up and will reveal these Terrigen crystals. Now, these crystals are the Inhuman crystals. It sends a mist to sense you in the room and bring out your potential, and then these crystals will shoot off and hit you. And when they hit you, they mutate you essentially, mutate you into Inhumans.
Okay, so this is like just kind of the origin of the Inhumans.
Yes,
before
the
we're
Kree
even
are
close to getting the Inhumans movie.
Exactly. So the Kree are responsible for the Inhumans. They basically
Okay, that's interesting.
Basically, Kree's create like
so essentially, the Inhumans is going to be like, wait, I dare to say maybe like almost kind of like in spirit, sort of like a spin-off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, yeah. Because Inhumans are going to be, again, they turned the, essentially, Tiki, aside from Agent Coulson, their second kind of main character is this girl named Skye. And
yeah, I know about her.
Yeah, but basically Skye is kind of like, their main character has turned into an Inhuman, so it's a big deal. You know, that means that Inhumans are definitely ingrained with this show, so you're right, Tiki.
Okay, that's really interesting.
So importantly, here's the thing. So the reason like the Inhumans are, so basically Kree wanted, it's funny, Kree wanted super soldiers essentially. They were trying to create an army of Earthlings turned into super weapons. They want to experiment on their own people because again they view themselves as kind of these pure, important beings. They didn't want to tamper with the Kree because it would be a dishonor to mutate the Kree biology in their minds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what they did is they found like the lowest species in the Earth in their minds, like the Terrans. They experimented on, turn them into super weapons. And there's 6 in total. There's 6 diviners, and the Shield we've only seen 1. The other 5 are missing, so that's kind of set up for the Inhumans movie that there are 5 diviners on the planet Earth.
Interesting.
And we actually saw another creature on Shield. Basically, there was a Kree who was sent down to Earth. He was really cool.
Now, are all Krees kind of like blue people, kind of like Ronin?
Yes. Yeah, all the Krees are blue people. We've only had 2 Krees on the S.H.I.E.L.D. show. Now, one Kree is dead. He was dead in the 40s. So basically, the guy who the Kree that brought down the diviners, he died on the planet when he arrived on the planet, and that's why the diviners are scattered around the planet. There's one Kree who's experimented on the Earthlings. He died, and they used his body to bring Coulson back. So that body that was found is where they got the blood from.
Okay, that makes sense.
You follow me? Just make sure I'm not losing you here. So basically, that's why.
No, you're not losing me. I'm getting it too.
And that's why there are 6 diviners on the planet. And anyway, so then currently on Shield, there was a Kree who really cleverly he uses like liquid nitrogen to disguise his blue look, so it gave him flesh colors.
Oh, interesting.
It's kind of a neat thing with the Kree biology. Use like an oxidation process of some sort to make him look human.
Sure.
And basically, that's their way of getting so they don't have to do the blue effect on people. So they don't have to.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I just wanted to bring the Kree up because I just feel like it's a very sort of prominent race going forward. Like, do you think that the Kree is going to be maybe in an alliance with Thanos, or do you think they're going to be sort of like all hell no, just like all out assault in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Well, the idea is like Thanos did ally himself with the Kree. So I mean, I'm assuming. Remember, the Kree didn't support Ronin's actions, but they were too fearful of him to contest it. And if people were afraid of Ronin, you can only imagine people are terrified of Thanos. So I don't think the Kree would work with Thanos. They'd be working in fear of him.
That makes sense. Okay.
So
Thanos. So we're gonna basically have to be worrying about the Kree to the extent of, Thanos kind of like, right, and Thanos kind of just having them under their thumb.
Yeah, basically, they might there's a chance they might work on something to retaliate against Thanos, and it'll just fail miserably, and then they'll be under his power, perhaps. Anyway, so yeah, this one Kree's guy, his name is Vintak, and again, he was looking for the diviner, and then basically he found out Sky's an Inhuman, and basically he revealed, this is the important thing, for the Inhumans movie, and just in general with the Inhumans, he revealed that the Kree, they were trying to create Inhumans on this planet, but the problem was, the reason they want the diviners back, the reason they want to stop the program is because it's too dangerous. The Kree realized there was too much potential on the planet Earth for Inhumans. That's why the planet is populated by Inhumans, like a ton of them.
Okay.
So basically, there are a ton of Inhumans, which we do see in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's a whole hidden city of Inhumans.
That's really, man, I have to get back into this show.
And with
I'm
that,
sorry because I never thought that this show would be like oh, okay, we're just going to cover something that's going to come into the cinematic universe in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. And basically,
that's kind of fascinating.
So as the Kree stands right now, here's what their premise is right now. So they sent this guy down there to get the diviner, and his mission is to find the crystals and destroy any existing Inhumans. So that's the Kree's mission goal. But here's the why the Kree hasn't attacked Earth yet. It's because Lady Sif was also in this episode. And, Sif defeated this guy.
Oh snap!
Yeah, so basically, they use the, I forget how, but they oh yeah, the guy used the weapon that could erase people's memory. He erased Sif's memory for the episode. So the point is, they erased his own mind, so he would report back to the Kree that they found nothing.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why as far as the Kree is concerned right now, they don't know about the Inhumans. But then again, this guy's memory, if it gets reset or something,
Sure.
The point is, they want to destroy the Inhumans before the Kree themselves are outgunned. And we have four currently on Shield. We have 4 Inhumans with powers. So the rest of them have the potential, and they're in a hidden location. So their powers will develop over time. Presumably when the Inhumans movie starts. But here are the 4 we do have.
Of course.
We have Gordon, and you know me, I just love the fact that they use the name Gordon. They have there's this guy named Gordon who was, as a kid, he was affected by this. He teleports and he has no eyes. That's his Inhuman thing. He's blind and he can teleport, and he knows everything in the universe. Well, he knows everything that's going on the planet simultaneously. So he's kind of like a psychic. He's a psychic who can teleport, yet he has no eyes. That's his deformity.
Interesting. Okay.
We have Jai, I can't remember her name. That's the woman who I don't have time to get into it right now. But the point is, like, she was victimized by Hydra. Hydra.
Oh dear.
Her power was that she.
I can use my imagination with that.
Let's just say there's a guy in Hydra named Whitehall who just subjected her to terrible tortures. This woman didn't age. Her power was that she couldn't age. She's the leader of the Inhumans, by the way. Currently, she's the leader of the Inhumans, and she was. They cut her open and harvested all her organs to create a Fountain of Youth potion for Hydra.
I'm assuming. Do you think that any of this whole Inhumans things is also going to tie into Doctor Strange somehow?
Well, they haven't had a lot of Doctor Strange. Right now, they're kind of referencing Age of Ultron a few times right now, but we'll see.
No, I mean, that's understandable for sure. I'm just saying, like, from what you know of Doctor Strange, do you think he could come in at any time?
Well, I think Doctor Strange.
I just feel like this is kind of dabbling in the same sort of magic that he would dabble in.
I don't think we're exactly in the Doctor Strange realm yet. I think when that year comes around, they're going to be starting to introduce more magic into the universe. Maybe that's when we'll get Strange. I think Strange is more of a self-contained thing, Tiki. I don't think we're going to get much crossover with Shield and him, but we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean,
I could be wrong. I mean, he didn't mention
in terms of the Infinity Gauntlet storyline.
Exactly, because they didn't mention him.
Big people kind of pulling people together.
Yeah, only thing is, like, we don't know if Strange has an origin yet or not, because as far as we're concerned, they're going to do the origin story with Doctor Strange.
I hope they don't, but that's a whole different discussion.
Exactly. Anyways, the point is, also the other 2 we got. So basically, Jay, she was torn open and like her organs were harvested. So thankfully, she has kind of like a healing factor / Fountain of Youth effect with her power, and she was able to be fixed by her husband, which thankfully her husband's an awesome character. I'm not going to get into it. It was like he patched her up, he sewed her. Basically, such a good surgeon, he was able to fix her along with her healing factor, helping her recover from the trauma. Her daughter Sky, Sky has like earthquake powers right now. That's her Inhuman power. Okay. It was revealed that her name is Daisy Johnson, Earthquake, or that's her character name, Quake. And then there's Raina. Raina has an unfortunate effect by the crystal. She has a precognitive ability. She can see into the future cryptically, but also the cost is that, much like Gordon, she is deformed. She looks like a porcupine essentially. She has all these pricks.
Oh wow! Huh.
She has this prickly, deformed thing coming out of her, and she used to be a really pretty character too. Like she has this. She's like looks like a porcupine. They've actually made jokes calling her Sonic the Hedgehog too. Occasionally, she's like. And here's the horrible thing: is like she can feel every individual prick in her skin too. It's really pain, like constant pain.
Just like the constant pain that Thanos put Gamora in the Gauntlet storyline.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Only each of these humans have a really interesting story. That's
Sure.
There's a lot of potential, and the Kree are responsible for it.
All right, but I feel like that's more kind of Inhuman stuff and less Age of Ultron stuff. So what else do we have?
Until we got kind of the revelation that the gems might have more to do with their mutations, what the idea was that the twins might be Inhumans, but I'm ruling that one out right now.
I would kind of be disappointed if that was the case.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, so let's see. We have a couple more things to go through. We need to go through Drax, and then we need to go through a couple more races. Where do you want to start?
Drax.
Nothing goes over my head.
My reflexes are too fast.
I will catch it. Yes. How awesome of a character is Drax?
Yes, we love Drax the Destroyer. He is beyond awesome.
We've made this analogy, I'm sure, several times, but like when people were getting hyped for Guardians of the Galaxy, everyone thought that Rocket Raccoon would be the big comic relief, and that Drax would be kind of like the big sort of sentimental figure of the film. And then it did a complete 180 in the most awesome way, and that you still feel sorry for Drax, but he's got so many awesome comedic moments. And, you know, Rocket Raccoon, of course, he spouts some really good one-liners, but he's got such a tragic backstory that they really dwell on. So what do you think?
Oh yeah, it was such a going into Guardians of the Galaxy again. I knew very little about these characters, but with Drax, I did a little research because he seemed like really interesting. He was the one he had the kind of least distinctive thing among them before I found out who his background was.
Now, apparently in the comics, it says that he's more powerful than Hulk.
Huh. Oh yeah. There was like a thing in there where they've done some funky stuff with Drax over the years, from what I understand.
Yeah, because definitely the Drax that's in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline is not the Drax at all that's in Guardian. Like, it might as well just be a completely different character, really.
But basically, the thing with Drax is that his family was killed by Thanos, and he wants Thanos dead, and that was the cool thing with him. And I love how in Guardians of the Galaxy we got our cake and we ate it too. So it wasn't right off the bat him going after Thanos. He was going after Ronan, who was the guy who did the deed. But kind of interesting way. By the end of it, we see that after he gets his revenge on Ronan, thanks to the help of his pals, the Guardians of the Galaxy, he still has unfinished business. Like Gamora says, well, you've done your family honor, you've done them proud. Says, well, I'm not done yet. I still have to kill Thanos.
Oh yeah, and I love that shot of Gamora kind of standing back as he says that. I'm just like, oh, there's tension on the team yet.
Oh yeah. So basically, Drax's next target is Thanos, which is a biggie.
Oh yeah. What if I wanted to take someone's life? That's murder.
Now, what if I wanted to rip someone's spine from their body? Well, that's murder, and that's actually the worst crime. Huh.
That's one of the worst crimes of all. Huh.
Boy, Drax is a boat.
Serious. Drax has so many awesome moments throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, Drax he's a cornucopia of great lines. But again, I love just kind of the tragedy and kind of the emotion of the character. He does all this for his family. Then he has that moment in Guardians where like he kind of realizes, it's not just about me. It's just like I'm not really doing my family any honor here by just kind of like just wreaking terror and havoc. I'm putting more people in danger than I am. And he realizes I couldn't even face this guy when I finally confronted him. I just built myself up for nothing and I failed. And I realized I need the help of these people I'm actually starting to care for to help achieve my goal. It's really nice. And Drax, he's always been a ton of fun. He's just at least just like this big kid almost, like saying, yes, when they're crashing through the ship and everything.
Yeah, I love that moment. Yeah!
Which, by the way, that was improv too, by the way.
I love the moment of him at the bar. And now we shall put more liquid into our bodies. Love that. Let's see. We could just sit here all day.
We love Drax. We really do. And it was so hard picking my favorite character after I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, I had to go Star-Lord, but then Drax was kind of almost a close second there. But there's so many good ones.
Honestly, like Gamora is not in the running just because she's a straight man at the group.
Yeah, again, they're all good.
I'd make an argument for all four of those guys to be my favorite character out of that group.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I will always go for this Star-Lord because I love Chris Pratt's Star-Lord.
For me, I'm kind of caught right in the middle between Groot and Drax, to tell you the truth. I just love the visuals that they do with Groot, but that's a different story.
Okay, so let's get to our other kind of, let's round out our cosmic side here. So what are we going for? Are we going for Ravagers or are we going for Nova?
You want to tackle Nova first?
Sure. Yeah, of course, we got the Nova Corps. In a nutshell, just to explain it to a layman, much like myself, the Nova Corps are essentially it's Marvel's answer to the Green Lantern. You know, it's a kind of a space.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
It's basically Green Lantern, but instead of a ring, it's kind of a helmet. You put on. They do a little different in Guardians of the Galaxy the movie, but basically in the comics, it's you put on this helmet, and you have basically yellow energy around you that you use to. Basically, you put the helmet on and you get powers, and you're part of like kind of a space corps of space cops. Essentially, and in the movie we get kind of more of like it's more they use ships instead of the helmets, but there might be a little room to give them some helmet powers down the line because we saw people
in the future, because it'd just be the case of like evolving technology. You know what I mean?
But worst case scenario, I can live with what they gave us. Guys love the idea of these space cops. They go around, they arrest people. And they get to know the criminals still. How John C. Reilly's character knows Star-Lord. He just knows his modus operandi because he ran into him a few times. I just love this kind of this cop dynamic with these guys in yours. I really hope he doesn't die, by the way, John C. Reilly's character. He dies
I wouldn't think they would. Oh, really? He does?
But then again, everyone dies in the comics, so really, come on.
That's true. A couple things I want to just kind of ask you about in terms of this Nova. One, are these people that are on Xandar and everything like that, are they human?
Well, it's like this weird thing. Just anything with any sci-fi thing, like they're called humanoid, but they're like it's like how in Star Trek there's never a planet Earth. You know what I mean?
Right.
But here I think
like people like John C. Reilly and then Nova Prime. Like, are all those people considered humans?
I think they're just humanoid, Tiki. I think we just don't know what the deal is with them. That's pretty much it as far as
okay.
They're just
and then obviously the we have the aliens, which are very well represented with just the painted people, which I think just gives a nice, simple, kind of clean visual look to everything.
I mean, look, there is a very slim chance if they reveal in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or something, but a slim chance that maybe the Nova guys specifically were recruited from Earth like Green Lanterns.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about.
It's a slim chance. Yeah. In just when they have one, however, like I don't know how. Again, I'm not a big Nova Corps fan or anything, but I just know for the one main guy, the one main guy was recruited from Earth, like kind of like Hal Jordan, like the one main Nova guy. So I'm saying that's one of them, though. Again, it's kind of all over the planet. They get recruited all like crazy, and then again, there's some humanoid ones, some non-humanoid. As far as we're concerned, just humanoid looking.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, what role do you think they'll kind of have going forward? I mean, of course, the big question mark now is that they do have control of one of the Infinity Gems. So I would wager to bet that maybe one of the opening sequences of Infinity Wars, if not even maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 2, is Thanos breaking into the Nova Corps and stealing that gem.
Yes, for one, they said that James Gunn said the Nova Corps would have a very reduced role, if not at all, in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which makes me think that'd be more for Infinity War, but we'll see.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean, I'd like to see like that scene you just laid out there is exactly what I had in mind of saying, well, how could we work him in there without kind of having to be overly in the movie? That'd be a scene just had in there where basically, what if we open the movie kind of like James Bondian opening, like kind of this cold opening.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Wouldn't it be great if just Thanos' forces come by and it's basically we see from the perspective of Glenn Close's character, or maybe John C. Reilly's. And I'm not saying kill John C. God knows I'm not saying that. Do not kill John C.
No, the only person we want dead is Barbara. Everyone else can live.
But what if John C. Reilly's character got wounded though, and he's like on his side, he's awake seeing all this, and he would like tell Quill about it or someone afterwards, and then basically just. I don't want to say it, but I think maybe she would have to die because like what if there would be like a cool reveal like, after the smoke clears, just we have like a giant boot stomp down, we see it's Thanos. Banana.
So you're saying Nova Prime would die?
Yeah, I guess I'm saying because Thanos is a guy he wouldn't let her live. I don't think he.
I definitely think that's actually a really good theory. I think she'd be a death where it's like it'd be felt throughout the storyline, but we are not necessarily entirely connected to her character, even the same way that we're connected to John C. Reilly's character.
Yeah. Maybe worse, maybe like a light in the end of the tunnel, or maybe John C. Reilly would get a promotion to her role. I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair
The
enough.
point is still would be kind of like, we know we like Glenn Close, but still, wouldn't that be kind of an awesome way if we were going to kill her off, that Thanos would kill her off after he gets like the orbs? You'll never get.
I'm
like,
still not convinced that Marvel's going to kill anybody off ever, really. But
well, they killed Ronan off, much to my displeasure. They killed Ronan off. But you know,
you
there's
don't
always
know
hope.
that though. You don't know that.
There's always hope that when the Infinity War rolls around, you just
okay. Let me ask you this, because we haven't talked about Groot at all this episode. When Groot, biggest air quotes in the world, died in Guardians of the Galaxy, did you buy it for a second?
Well, no, because I know his shtick is that he grows and he kind of grows back.
Of course, that's his shtick. Of course, that's his fucking shtick. I'm sorry. Anyways, anything else about Nova Corps?
Yeah, so with the Nova Corps, it would be kind of like a cool thing if like if like going forward, it'd be like just Glenn Close like last moments, like she backsasses Thanos and then he kills her.
Oh God!
Basically, he takes the orb and like she says, "No, you can't do that." But then like she insults him because you know she's kind of cool like that. But then he just like kills her.
You dare insult the Mad Titan? Oh man. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I was gonna say one last thing with Rowan. I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
You know, again, he is kind of similar to the Red Skull, and that he could, in theory, be brought back. But it'd be kind of funny if like Thanos just like snapped his fingers because he was bored and just brought Ronan back, and maybe killed him again and just brought him back a few times.
Oh, you're back now, boy.
So basically, what if like Thanos gave him a second chance and says, "I brought you back from the grave. Serve me well."
I can see that. I'd be kind of pissed because, again, it'd just be the whole, like, oh, MCU cannot kill off one single solitary character ever.
But again, you saw Infinity. You saw the Infinity Gauntlet story, and that's kind of the whole shtick of that. Just bring people back on the
yeah, the Infinity Gauntlet story is just like, okay, everyone dies.
That would be the story to do it in. You have to admit, that would be the story to do
it in. Right. Okay, so let's see. I think unless you have anything to say, yeah. So we get to the Ravengers. Yeah.
Take us to the Ravengers.
Do you know? Well, do you know anything about these guys' background? One thing I do know, of course, is that Yondu in the comic books is much more kind of like represented as like almost a Native American type figure.
Yeah, he's more like he just guy with a giant, not fin, like kind of like looks kind of like it's like more of a mohawk than a fin in the movie. It's like it's actually like a big old like kind of like giant like amphibious fin in the comics, and he shoots bows and arrows instead of just one really cool arrowhead controlled by whistling.
That's such a fucking cool design.
It is. You know, I'm just saying. Again, I know very little about the Guardians. The Guardians pre this movie.
I mean, I'm just spotlighting them at all just because they were an awesome part of this movie. And
just the Ravagers is a cool idea. It's feeding off of our love of Star Wars, just having cool bounty hunter type characters.
Yeah, exactly.
They're space bikers / with Ravagers means like they steal, and it's like a thieves guild of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they steal, they pillage, they probably take up bounties, and it's all about kind of money and survival, which again is just perfect kind of parentage for Peter Quill. And again, of course, the dynamic Yondu is one of the most entertaining things in the movie. Again, he's kind of like a surrogate father in a way to them. That's really funny. Like the worst role model you could imagine.
But you know that Yondu is just like, my boys would have eaten you. And then I love when Chris Pratt finally goes off and he's like, people don't eat other people, Yondu. They don't even think about it.
Yeah, again, it's such a great dynamic between these two. Just the comedy. These two guys have known each other so long. It's like the same. You got to sense the same shtick. Michael Rooker's so good, and apparently he's James Gunn's good luck charm. So he's in all of his movies, by the way.
Well, yay for that, because I love the crap out of him. He was awesome in The Walking Dead. So yeah, I'm down to see whatever this guy does.
So, yeah, with Rooker, he just brings the first time he uttered that line, like, "Yeah, we're gonna eat." You just get a sense of, oh god, this is just like a story that Quill has heard 100 times. And he's
exactly.
So sad. But again, I just love the idea as like, Yondu just continually wants him to kind of convince him not to kill him whenever he gets in trouble because he likes the kid, and he'll never admit it. but he really does like the kid deep down.
Yeah, he does, for
bad
sure.
happened to him, and I just love the ending too. Like he reveals like the troll doll, and first of all, Yondu's happy because hey, look, I got like a little knickknack to put on my control, which he does like. And secondly, he says, "Oh, that kid outsmart. I'm gonna kill him." And well, no, ultimately, won't kill him.
Oh, that kid. Oh, I'm gonna kill him.
It's adorable.
Not a boy.
Oh, that's adorable. Yondu's one of these. He's like the lovable uncle of the Marvel
He was
universe.
by far, and I've said this time and time again, he was by far the biggest surprise of that movie for me. I did not know Michael Rooker was going to be in it at all. I saw his name in the credits. I was like, ooh, who's he playing? And then it turns out that he's playing, like, basically the biggest role in the whole movie that did not get advertised in the marketing.
Yeah, just think. Yeah, thankfully.
That's such a pleasant surprise when you go into a movie and you're expecting, like, okay, we're going to Guardians, so it's going to be freaking Rocket Raccoon and Groot and, like, we know the main Guardians, we even know that John C. Reilly is going to be in there, but we had no idea that Michael Rooker is like this blue hillbilly badass like bounty hunter guy was going to be in there.
And of course, the best thing about it, Tiki, is that they didn't do like the predictable thing of like, oh, there's a misunderstanding. They're going after the gem. You don't understand, Yondu. It's going to destroy the universe. I don't care.
Right.
Then basically, at some point, the bad guy just kills him off. Thankfully, they didn't do any of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said.
A lot of class with this. They made it really cool, really fun. As you're aching to see him on screen again. So let's go through some of our Age of Ultron speculation. All the stuff we talked about here. What are we expecting any of this for the future?
Okay, well, I think the one thing to really go to would be Thanos, because I'd be surprised if Thanos doesn't stop in somewhere during Age of Ultron.
I'm suspecting, Thanos to be kind of viewing the events, and that'll be the mid-credit scene because that's kind of what they did with the first Avengers.
I would be disappointed if it was a mid-credit scene. I almost kind of hope it's just because that would be like literally the exact same mid-credit scene that we got for the original Avengers.
Yeah, it might be kind of like a continuing thing. I don't know.
I would like, maybe if they did that, I'd like it more towards the very beginning instead of at the end credits.
You got a point. It could be like a framing device, like Thanos watching the events unfurl.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think the Infinity Gems are going to have more to do with the twins than them being just Inhumans, which still, just hopefully the Mind Gem will just be what kind of turns them into their where it's not just mind control, like just bringing out the powers.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on the money in terms of anything we're going to see with the gems is going to be tied pretty strongly into the twins as well.
Yes.
Okay,
I could speculate what ultimately will happen with the Mind Gem, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's tough with Guardians of the Galaxy because obviously, like a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy stuff set up Phase 3 more than the end of Phase 2.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of I'd be really surprised if it's the Soul Gem, but we'll see.
Right.
It definitely can't be the Time Gem. That'd be ridiculous if it was the Time Gem.
Do you think that we're gonna get Nebula anywhere?
I think definitely we're gonna see Nebula, if not in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but definitely in Infinity War.
I'm asking if we're gonna see her in Age of Ultron.
Well, I mean, I think at some point Thanos is gonna get the gauntlet. And what if that was? What if that was? Tell me something. Would this impress you if it was the post-credit? If it was like the post-credit scene of some mid-credit scene? If Thanos just like he stole the gauntlet from Odin's room, or basically he has the gauntlet somehow, and that was like the reveal. Like he has the gauntlet now, he's getting the gems, and that's gonna be the movies going forward.
Well, yeah, that would be fine. I mean, honestly, in terms of post-credit scenes, I like the post-credit scenes to be more like the shawarma and the Howard the Duck type stuff, just the ridiculous stuff. But yeah, in terms of like a mid-credit scene, that would definitely be a good way to be like, okay, you Avengers, you just took down 2 really big threats, but you have not experienced anything yet because all these gems are coming together and all hell is going to break loose.
Right, and also I think just regards to in the future of Nebula, I don't know when we get this, but I think we definitely got to see Nebula like plotting to steal the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos.
Yeah, sure.
I think that should be Infinity War Part 1 of like her trying to get the Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. Should we address the fact that James Gunn has been very coy about him not wanting Marvel characters in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I still, we love James Gunn to pieces, but I'm a little wary of him. Like, just how can you separate? Literally, you have a movie called Infinity War on the way. How can you?
Yeah, I'm like, how can there's no way. It'd be such a waste. I mean, can't you imagine Tony Stark interacting with Rocket Raccoon and Hulk interacting with Groot? It writes itself, BlueDragonFive. It completely writes itself.
I mean, I'm going to be very surprised if we don't get, like, again, that's kind of the go-to idea for Infinity War. If not part 1, then definitely part 2. Like, they're all there. Because you read Infinity Gauntlet somewhat yourself. Remember, you saw he just snaps his fingers. He brings all the Earth's heroes there to impress death by killing them.
Of course, one of the big things about Infinity Gauntlet that they'd have to deal with was, that big event that starts it off where, like, half the heroes vanish.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, we see people vanishing.
So I know, but I'm saying like they'd have to maybe like pick and choose, like, because obviously the reason why they did kind of sideline some of the characters in that original storyline, besides just the fact of like, hey, this is getting really crowded, it's just kind of story reason, it kind of sets up stakes and everything. So do you think we're going to get something like that happening in Infinity War, towards the beginning, where just literally like half of existence is wiped out?
Maybe. I think there's a chance of it. Maybe.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of gone through all we need to go through with this. What do you think?
So, yeah. So again, just we got kind of we got really the cosmics. So overall, just the cosmic side has had a huge role in Marvel here. Again, look at it this way: we've had our Marvel Universe established just kind of our individual heroes in their movies, and of course the running theme there for being the first Infinity Gem, and being the Cosmic Cube, which we didn't even think was an Infinity Gem until we just got that revelation that, oh my God, it's an Infinity Gem at the end in Avengers. And going forward, it's just the revelation that, okay, well now we've had our heroes established, and now they're combined. So how do we up the stakes from there? We hint at the Infinity Gauntlet. We hint at the bigger universe. Again, just that Nick Fury quote. One of my favorite quotes, Marvel Universe. You're now part of a bigger universe. You just don't know yet. Well, now the Avengers are getting together, and now they're part of a big universe.
Yeah, they're knowing it. They're knowing it. I mean, they've known for a while with the likes of Asgard and stuff like that, but literally a whole new galaxy is going to come down on the Avengers.
Exactly. It's even bigger than just Asgard and 9 realms. It's even bigger. It's like a whole. They literally saw Iron Man first and foremost, which again is really interesting. Iron Man, he got a glimpse into that bigger universe, and I think that's just it's symbolic, Tiki. Iron Man being our first hero in the Marvel, introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe here in the movies. He being the glimpse into like the next phase of movies, what it's ultimately building to, is at the end of the day just looking into this bigger universe. Things are back to bigger than you ever imagined. Iron Man being kind of the guy looking at that, signaling to the folks at home, hey, listen, it's about to get bigger. It's about to get wilder. It's going to be a wild ride, but ultimately it's going to pay off, and it's going to lead to Infinity War. Well, that's where we're going. Like, I'm Iron Man. I'm all about building technology and everything. We're heading there, and of course that inspires him to go for Age of Ultron. Ultimately, which is where we're going next. A little adventure there.
All right. So I guess with that, we'll close out for this show, right? Or wait, before we do that, do you want to kind of go through the last Marvelous Road to Ultron topic that we're covering?
No, of course. Well, folks, after we see great progress and just what's on the horizon, I think something important that we've learned, especially this year, is that before we can go forward, before we can actually go to Ultron, we gotta see how history has a tendency of repeating itself. See how we've truly grown. That's what this whole show's been about, folks. Seeing how far we've grown, seeing how far we've gone. We've learned, and we've learned a lot of this just looking at kind of the 40s progression.
Sure.
Look in the 40s more and seeing the progression. We're not just talking about the 40s. We're talking about the 40s beyond. We're on the road to the present, to the road to Ultron. We're going back to the 40s and beyond.
Yeah, so that means characters like Howard Stark, of course, Peggy Carter. I want to call him Captain Phillips, but I know he's not Captain Phillips. That's Tom Hanks. Colonel Phillips, of course, the Howling Commandos.
Yeah. Basically, kind of our progression, kind of our deep progression, the deep progression of the Marvel Universe, like when it all started, like how we truly began, how we truly evolved, just within kind of, we're not just going to talk about the 40s exactly, but the 40s, a bit of 60s and 70s, because we're going to see a lot of that in Ant-Man.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, there's going to be definitely a lot of Ant-Man stuff in that. Okay, okay, sounds good. So, in the meantime, folks, I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
I'm Groot.
I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot.
I am Groot. Do 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 do.
I am Groot. I am.
I'm Groot.
Oh God. And
I'm Groot.
just hold on.
I am Groot.
No. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Don't even notice me. Listen, I've got flowers too, and they're pretty sweet. Promise I can do so much more than just archery. I'm serious, guys.